Hello, welcome to another episode on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today's show. Mixed emotions with regards to the results today, as Liverpool drew 2-2 against Brighton at the IMAX Stadium. We were trailing at one point and then took the lead, but unfortunately conceded a late goal, and in my eyes, probably missed out on all 3 points. But we'll get into the details during the show, and I'll discuss the key moments of the game, and then also do a Liverpool player rating. So before we begin, this is a call-in show. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, link is in the description. I'll also post it in the live chat, which you can see right now. So it's already there. So if you'd like to jump on, hit the link and I'll try and get you on the show after the player ratings. So let's begin with the match review. In terms of the starting lineup for Liverpool, I find it quite interesting. Elliott makes a start after his good performance midweek in the Europa League. Personally, I would have gone for Gravenberch, but that was Klopp's call there. Trent Alexander-Arnold also starts the game. Most of us were expecting Gomez to get the nod. So interesting to have him on the pitch. And then it was Diaz, Nunez and Salah who started the game. And remember, no Jota and Curtis Jones due to suspension. So the bench was a lot on the weaker side. And also, actually, just remember, Gakpo is injured as well. So the only attacking threat that we had was Ben Doak. So limited options from the bench for this fixture. In terms of the first half, I find it quite interesting in terms of the tactics that were deployed by Klopp, especially in the opening 15 minutes. Players were interchanging to confuse the opposition. So Trent pretty much swapped roles with Matip to play his inverted role. And Salah swapped with Elliott, allowing Salah to be more central, especially during counter-attack. So more on the attacking formation rather than defensive. I think when we had to defend as a team, the shape was the traditional 4-3-3. But when we were on attack, you'd get Elliott out wide, Salah in a more central area, and then you've had Trent as well coming in with Matip going on the right-hand side. So a lot of fans I know are a little bit frustrated with this inverted role. I wouldn't say I'm frustrated. I just feel like it doesn't work against every opposition. It just depends who we're playing up against. And I feel like in this game, it probably wasn't the right call to do that. I think a back four was pretty much needed, especially when you've got attackers like Mitoma on the left-hand side, and you had the goal scorer as well, Adingra, who was fantastic. So a flat back four was required in this game. But yeah, it's all in hindsight right now. But Brighton, unfortunately, for Liverpool fans, did break the deadlock. And it was Brighton's old boy, Alex McAllister, who gives the opposition with a goal through his misplaced pass, finding Adingra to, in fact, actually did a good finish. It was a clever sort of placed shot past Alisson. I think caught him a bit off guard, as he was probably expecting another touch and a shot. And he tried to stretch to make the save, but he was unable to do so. For me, it's the same old story of Liverpool. Lack of focus and concentration is what's costing this team from keeping clean sheets. Always the first team to concede. It is a worry for me. It's something that needs to be rectified. I can't really have fans saying, it's Klopp's fault or start blaming the management. It comes down to the players. They're making these individual errors. So you can always have the best shape in terms of formation and tactically. But in the end, if players are not doing their job and then misplacing passes, because I saw the graphics afterwards saying there was 3 players around McAllister. He had plenty of time to stop and actually pass the ball. Or if he wasn't sure of making the right pass, he could just pass it back to Van Dijk. That's what you're taught as a kid. When you have the ball, if you can't find a new option, just pass it back to the player that gave you the ball in the first place. So basic stuff, which is something that the team needs to work on. It's frustrating because we're always playing catch up with these fixtures. It shouldn't be the case. We should be the one dominating. We are a better team on paper, and I would say in general anyway, against most oppositions, we are the better team technically. So we should be leading by example and scoring the first goal rather than chasing the game. But it's a weakness of Liverpool's right now, something that needs to be rectified over the course of the season. To be fair, after that goal as well, I felt like the game was a bit flat in general from both teams. Brighton had a couple of chances, but didn't really trouble Alisson at all. But for Liverpool, on the positive, managed to get an equaliser around the 40th minute mark, as Mo Salah was through and clinically finishes it from the right-hand side. And then moments later, another big talking point. Liverpool get a penalty as Grouse drags Szoboszlai to the ground. Arguable to say it should have been a red card as Grouse was the last man and denied Szoboszlai a goal-scoring opportunity. The tackle itself was a foul, but I think if you're looking at the context of the tackle, it's a soft one to give a red card, right? However, I've been hearing all week about, especially from ex-referees, that you can't change the law. You got to follow the law. Well, according to the letter of the law, that is a red card. Liverpool got done dirty again for a wrong decision. Now, I'm not saying there's an agenda against Liverpool. As football fans, all we ask is for consistency. Is that too much to ask? I don't think it is. But when you get these decisions every game, it feels like you're a target for these officials. So, yeah. A lot of people say, look, you got the penalty in. Yes, we did get the penalty in the end. However, there has to be consequences for those type of tackles because it was a clean shot for Szoboszlai. There was no one sort of going to prevent. I know there was a player who was approaching, I think it was Dunk, approaching the goal line to make the clearance, but by the time the ball was received from Szoboszlai, he was shot. It would have been an open goal. So no, for me, he was denied a clear-cut opportunity, and yeah, should have been a red card for Grouse, but we move on. Back to the penalty itself. Mo Salah steps up, hits the bottom corner, and he turns the game around in quick succession. 2 goals in a matter of a few minutes. So yeah, a good end to the first half. I don't think the performance reflected it, but Salah was on top of his game, so that helped Liverpool have the lead going into the second half. For me, Liverpool needed to focus and try and make a charge in order to get the victory. Second half begins. Gravenberch comes on for Harvey Elliott. Alisson actually had to make a fantastic save as the Dingra is through on goal. And yeah, what a charging save it was from Alisson there. Gravenberch has a glorious chance to score as Szoboszlai whipped in a cross and Gravenberch's shot hit the crossbar. Yeah, it was a big opportunity, to say the least. He should have hit the back of the net. I know people say the pace of the ball, it was fizzed in and it was his left foot, so his weaker foot, but he should have scored that. That should have been buried in the goal. Pretty much an open goal. All he had to do was guide it in. He didn't have to smash it in. So no, for me, it was a poor chance that he should have scored. Gravenberch and Szoboszlai have another moment on the pitch where Gravenberch was fed the ball by Szoboszlai. And then Gravenberch hits the left-footed shot, saved by the keeper. Not really troubling for Bruggen there. Szoboszlai, pretty much very active in the second half, makes another run in the middle of the park, lays it off to Diaz, who's shot high and wide. For me, Diaz was a little bit disappointed in the second half. Feel like he didn't get involved in the game that much. And when he had these moments, wasn't clinical enough. Moments later, Brighton have a penalty shout as Mitoma's cross hits Van Dijk's hand. For me, that's not a penalty. The ball clearly hits his knee and then bounces off onto his hand. So the right call from the refs. Funny moment as the Brighton fans were chanting, we need a replay or something along those lines. Yeah, it's all good banner, but yeah, not the right call. And it was a fair decision from the officials there. Liverpool get stunned by Brighton not so long after that moment as March whips in a cross from the free kick. Robertson misreads the situation, allows the ball to go through, which unfortunately leads to Dunk scoring an easy chance. He wasn't going to miss that. So very disappointing defending from Liverpool there. Gomez comes on for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, when he came on, he had a couple of shaky moments. Brighton have a massive chance as a Dingra who I've mentioned his name a few times already now, was causing havoc all over the game. Hits a low cross for João Pedro, but his shot goes over the bar, high and wide. To be fair, I just feel like he didn't expect that ball to come. So his body language wasn't quite there. And like he was leaning back. So that ball was always going to go over. So big opportunity for Brighton. That could have sealed the win for them. Luis Diaz, he has a crack from distance over the bar. Wasteful chance, in my opinion. He had the moment where he could have laid someone off. And that shot was always going to be a difficult one, considering there's a lot of defenders in front of him. So disappointing in terms of how that moment happened. I feel like it was quite wasteful, to be fair. Liverpool tried to apply pressure towards the latter stages, but just couldn't find the winning goal. So overall, I think it was a fair result, as Brighton certainly put up a fight and deserved something from the game. Their standout player was Adingra, who was fantastic this afternoon. Liverpool weren't at their best at all. They had good phases during the game where they showed good moments, but throughout the game, it was just not consistent enough for us. So Liverpool will feel disappointed that they didn't get all 3 points, as they were on the lead towards the last 10, 15 minutes. So, yeah, maybe we should have got the 3 points. But I have to be honest, I think a draw is probably the right reflection for this game. So what I'll do now, I will present the graphics for player rating so we can delve in and talk in more detail in terms of how everyone did individually. So start with Alisson. Wasn't involved as much in terms of a lot of saves. Had a dominant performance. Now, I know a lot of people might say he may have been at fault for the first goal. I don't think so. I understand why people say that, because what happens is when you've got Robertson and then Van Dijk and then you've got Matip on the right back sort of positioning, there was a gap where basically Trent Alexander ended up being an inverted fullback. So he was playing a more of a central midfield role. So because of that gap and because of Alisson's fantastic ability on the ball, ended up being sweeper keeper, moved forward, and it ended up forming as a centre back positionally into a back four. So he laid the pass off to McAllister, to Van Dijk, and then Van Dijk to McAllister, and McAllister lost the ball. So I don't think Alisson can be at fault there, because he was slightly out of position when that shot happened. But had McAllister not have, messed up that pass, it would have been just a normal routine way of starting up the game. So no, I'm not going to point the finger at him. If you do, that's your opinion. I personally don't think he's at fault for that. And he made that big save in the early second half, which could have led to a goal. So I'm going to give him a solid ranking. I'm going to give him a 7.5. So on to the defense. No standout performance for me in terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, he had a decent performance. I remember him making one clearance when the ball was lofted over the defense, and I think the ball was targeted towards Mitoma, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold did fantastic to get ahead and then make that clearance before he even arrived to Mitoma. So that was one big moment, because had that ball gone through, I think that definitely would have gone in, because it was a fantastic counter-attack. And then I think Trent Alexander would have been a few yards off Mitoma, so he would have outpaced him and probably would have led to either him providing an assist for someone else or he would have scored himself. So a good defensive moment there for him. Wasn't really attacked as much during this game, so that was always my concern. That's why in my preview, I wanted Joe Gomez to start, to the fact that we need to kind of keep him quiet. But then Joe Gomez didn't help with his small cameo, but I'll speak about his performance later on. In terms of Trent, thought he had a decent performance. Not heavily involved with the attack, so can't give him a very high ranking. So with that said, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Matip, for me, had a solid performance. I don't think he was his normal self. I think the own goal might have taken a bit away from his game. I think he was a bit more reserved, a bit more cautious in his play. He didn't really carry the ball like he normally does. So a bit of a shame, but understandable. I think because of what happened last week, he was probably playing more of a safe game today than not. So Having said that, I thought he was all right, so I'll give him a 7 out of 10 as well. Van Dijk, yeah, similar. I didn't really think he stood out that much. I think he was pretty much solid. Didn't really offer much in terms of his passing range. I feel like that's something that separates him from other centre-backs. Didn't really show that today. Maybe because of the way Brighton deployed their tactics, didn't really give him a lot of time on the ball. So he had a decent game, so I'll give him a 7 out of 10 as well. Robertson, yeah, had decent moments. At fault for the second goal for Brighton, unfortunately. It has to be said. That was a poor decision-making from him there. As a defender, you're always taught just to make that clearance, not to leave it for someone behind you because, you know, especially in that situation where it's a set piece, you know there will be Brighton players behind you. So that was a silly call, unless the goalkeeper shouted to say it's my ball, but it was nowhere near the ball. So, yeah, disappointing performance from him. I think he tried to rectify it by showing a bit more urgency in his play after that goal was conceded. There's one moment where he could have fed the ball to Diaz, but overplayed it. So, yeah, he was trying too much, too hard at that time. But, yeah, I can't give him a very high ranking today, so I'm going to give him a 6.5. Onto the midfield, McAllister, same situation. I feel like he was at fault for the first goal. It wasn't a difficult moment for him. I feel like he could have just passed it back to Van Dijk or played it to a different player. It's just I just think that pass was quite woeful to do. Didn't really look up. Just expected it to be arriving at the player. So yeah, lack of focus and concentration from him. Had decent moments throughout the game, but didn't really influence the game for me as such. I know he made 1 or 2 runs where he was in the final third, which was good to see. But I don't know, a lot of fans are quite disgruntled in terms of seeing him play as a 6. At this stage, do we really have much options? I know we have Endo on the bench. Me personally, with Endo, I feel like he's a squad player at best. I don't really see him being someone that can really take the team by the scruff of the neck in terms of positionally. He can come in and do a good job here and there, but as a starting 6, I don't think he's at that level that we need in this team. So when you've got the likes of Szoboszlai, Harvey Elliott, Gravenberch, Curtis Jones, you've got proper number 8s there that are ball carriers. So, you know, you can't really drop, a Curtis Jones who was in great form before his suspension. Gravenberch is showing some great moments as well on the ball. So I don't feel like you can just put McAllister and Szoboszlai and then sacrifice that number 6 role because we don't really have many options right now. If we had Thiago fit or if we had Bajtic fit as well, maybe there's an option there. Maybe one of the 2 would have started this game, but they're on the casualty list right now. So until we don't have those options available, it will have to be McAllister in that number 6 role. That's why I'm really looking forward to seeing Thiago fit because I feel like Thiago can play that 6 role and McAllister can be a number 8 and just, have a proper influence on the team. But we're not going to see that until he's available. And right now, who knows when Thiago will be available. So at this stage, it seems a bit of a mystery. But so yeah, in terms of McAllister's ranking today, unfortunately, I can't give him a very high one either. It will have to be a 6.5 as well. Okay. Harvey Elliott was taken off. I'm not sure if it was injury related or performance. We can speculate, I guess, in that regards. I feel like he had a decent performance. I did like the tactical intelligence in terms of shifting to the right to allow Salah to come in. Sometimes with certain players, when they do that, they don't really know what to do in that secondary role. So they can either block the path of the right back or just stand in positions where they're ineffective and doesn't really help with Salah as well. But obviously his position sense really helped with the goal. As Nunes laid it off for Salah, Elliott let the ball go. So maybe if Elliott shot, maybe he wasn't in a great position. He might have got blocked because he did have a centre back in front of him. But allowing that ball to flow through onto Salah, and then Salah had a better angle to hit the ball in the corner. That's game intelligence right there. So they're forming a good relationship on the right-hand side, which is good to see. So yeah, I thought he had a decent performance, to be fair. And I feel like that's been Harvey Elliott's season this year. Whenever he's come on or whenever he's played, he's always had some sort of impact or he's done something to contribute to the team. And that's all we ask from every Liverpool player. He's not someone that's going to be knocking on Klopp's door to say, look, I want regular game time. He knows when he gets that game time, he's going to make an impact on the team. So that's what you want to see, especially from a young player as well. So I'm going to give him 7 out of 10. Szoboszlai, for me, was very good in this game. More influential in the second half, where he was definitely trying to make runs. Was denied a goal when Grouse fouled him, so he might have been annoyed with that as he would have been on the score sheet. I feel like overall, fantastic, great engine. There was moments where I think around the 80th minute, he was charging down, pressing to get the ball from the keeper at one point. So energy levels are through the roof, and it's quite refreshing to see. We've had midfielders in the not so long past where they've lacked that energy level to press, and we've been run over by a lot of teams. So it's great to see a player of that ability, but also can really be effective on the ball and make things happen. So for today's performance, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. On to the attacker. So let's start with Salah. Salah for me was very good today. And I think in terms of all-round play, he was good, but I feel like the goal that he scored for the first one and then stepping out for the penalty as well, I think we take Salah for granted in terms of him scoring those goals because we're just so used to seeing him being on a score sheet, or we're just accustomed to knowing that he has end product. So I feel like he doesn't get the respect from Liverpool fans at times. But he scored the first goal, literally a minute or two later, scored a penalty as well under that pressure. So he's got 2 in the bag. So I think in terms of performance, I did think he did really well. Tried to make things happen. So yeah, this might be too generous, but I've obviously bumped his score up due to him scoring 2 goals. So I'm going to give him 9 out of 10. And because I've given him a high score of 9, he will probably be my man of the match. So yeah, let's find this option to give him man of the match. So there he has his star. So yeah, I thought I'd give him man of the match. Someone that was very close in terms of receiving that man of the match award for me was Darwin Núñez. I know he wasn't as potent in terms of being in great attacking positions. However, I feel like his overall game and team play today was fantastic. Really working for the cause of the team, trying to cause havoc. His layoff was really good in terms of, to be fair, the first goal was his layoff to Salah, and then even the second goal was a layoff to Szoboszlai, but he got fouled. So had that goal have stood, or if that moment led to a goal, it would have been 2 assists for Núñez. So yeah, I think I was very impressed with his overall game today. Didn't really get in a lot of goal scoring chances. However, I feel like in some games, if you're not going to be a goal threat as a striker, at least be involved, at least try and make things happen for your teammates. And that's exactly what he did today. So I can only praise in terms of how he performed. Some fans might have a different view altogether, and that's fair play. Everyone has their own opinion in terms of what they see as a football fan. For me, I feel like he played a good game for the team. So I'm going to give him an 8.5. Diaz, is so inconsistent. That's just how I'm seeing it right now. Has some great moments during the game. Such an attacking threat on that left-hand side. But some of his decision-making is questionable. Passing as well. And then I feel like he fizzles out, especially in the second half. He isn't involved as much. Maybe that's down to playing in terms of more of a defensive player, especially at times where we need to hold shape. So he's losing energy, or he's not got that same oomph when he's playing on the ball. He had a couple shots in the second half, but he didn't really try to make things happen. It was just that he got the ball, cut in, and was very predictable. Cut in, try and shoot first time. Didn't really play with any imagination or creativity, in my opinion. I may sound harsh, but I've got a huge expectation on Diaz. I've seen him play where he's just ran through teams, and I feel like he has that in him, but he's just not doing it on a consistent basis. So with that said, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I being harsh with my rankings here? Love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. In terms of the sub, we only made 3 subs, so it was Harvey Elliott for Gravenberg, I think it was. Yep, here he is. And then it was Matip for Konate. So Konate. So then you've got him there. And then it was Joe Gomez on for Trent. And I believe that was all the subs from what I remember. But yeah, if I missed anyone out, do let me know. But I think it was 3 subs that we made. So let's start with Konate. Yeah, pretty much just came in and just made things a bit more solid. I don't think he stood out. I don't think he made any clearances or any mistakes or anything that matter. So I'll probably just have to give him an average ranking if I'm being brutally honest. And I'll just give him a 6 out of 10. Joe Gomez, for me, yeah, didn't really have a good cameo. I've been singing a lot of praise in the last few weeks. Today, slightly disappointed with his performance. He came on and one of his first moments was charging down that right-hand side, but just running down the wing with the ball. Ends up losing the ball, but then I think he kicked the ball in, but then he barges the other player, and then the other player got the free kick. So it's just like a wasteful opportunity. Like, why do you just have to run down that wing? It wasn't like the 90th minute where you're trying to waste time or hold up play. There could have been a time where after the first 2 touch, try and find someone rather than taking that final touch and ending closer up to the corner flag. It made no sense to me. So that was a poor decision making in terms of his attacking ability. Defensive as well, there was a couple moments where Mitoma got the best of him. There was that one moment where Mitoma received the ball and with his first touch, just ran past Gomez with pure ease. It was like he wasn't there. Literally, that's what it appeared to be. So I know Mitoma is one of the best wingers in the league, but you know, I had so much high hopes in terms of wanting Gomez to start and try and keep Mitoma quiet. And then if you've come on as a late sub, where Mitoma is probably, you know, tired or on the verge of being tired, and he runs past you like that, yeah, it kind of disappoints me a little bit in terms of how he performs. So unfortunately, I'm going to give Joe Gomez a low ranking, and it's going to be a 5.5. And then the final player is Gravenberg, who comes on, shows moments of quality. In terms of, I just like the way he dribbles on the ball, as a ball carrier. But that mistake, that I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but that goal chance was, yeah, he should have buried it. I know he's probably kicking himself right now in terms of how he missed. I think the pass was a good pass. I don't think it was that hard of a pass. People are saying, oh, it was a very heavy pass, so he was unable to control the shot. I think the bounce was perfectly executed. He just needed to guide it rather than smash it in. And because he smashed the ball, it elevated the ball even further, and then that's why I hit the crossbar. So yeah, I think he should have done better with that finish there. So with that being said, I'm going to give him a 6.5 ranking. So let me know what you guys think. Have I been fair with my assessment, or have I been too generous with some? Yeah, if you're not watching live and you're watching the replay, do drop a comment in the comment section, and then I'll try and respond to your comments as well. So let me just go through a couple comments. We've got Sideline Football Show, big up brother. Thank you, Fama, for tuning in. Appreciate your comment. And we've got Jordy say, "Ahoy, the lads." Thank you for your comment as well. As there's no callers right now, that's the end of the show. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Appreciate your support as always. Next week is International Week. So in terms of the schedule, we will be doing a Premier League Match Week 8 review. So I don't think there's any fixtures. There's no Monday fixtures. Let me just have a quick look through the fixture list. So no. So we'll possibly be doing a show tomorrow evening. It will be around 10 p.m. UK time, which is normally my slot during the week. And after that, you know, we've got pretty much 2 weeks off. So I've got a few ideas in terms of content I might do. So best thing to do is subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified of any upcoming content that is going to happen in the next few days or next week or so. or you can follow me on social media for all the latest updates. So you can follow me at Ozzie FTP on Twitter, or you can follow me at Ozzie.ftp on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And yeah, definitely try and do as much content for you guys during the international break. It's one of those times where there's no football around, so we do miss it. So I'll try and keep it fun and interactive for you guys as always. So until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very soon. Goodbye.